Hello and welcome back to the Tao Manifesting Tarot. This is the tarot reading for serious-minded people in very, very serious-minded times. I've done tarot for over 20 years. Wow. And in that time, I have discovered tarot is not a tool for prediction. Tarot is the science of potential. In other words, with tarot, you can conjure up the frequency of a given moment. And either that frequency resonates with you or it doesn't. You can't make it. It's like friendship or love or those kinds. It just can't. Either it is or it isn't. To be honest, most of the time it isn't. It's about maybe 90% of the people listening to this right now are not going to resonate with the frequency. Parts of the reading, yes, will interest them, garner some attention, but it won't be that soul frequency lighting. Usually about 10% of people resonate. Sometimes if you're lucky, you'll get to 20. So that's basically 1 out of 10, 2 out of 10 at most. If it doesn't resonate, don't worry. Yeah, I'm doing a brand new read every day, 365, holidays or not, so you and I can get together tomorrow or next week, next month. Doesn't make any difference. At some point, the resonance of the frequency from the reading will hit you right between the eyes. When it does, green light, go like hell. Don't question it. Realize the door is open for you. So tarot is the science of potential. I've also, for the past 50, that's 50 years, done astrology, numerology. Those are sciences that are the science of cycles, meaning you can kind of predict, not with specificity, but you can carry the energy from one period to the next. It all depends which planet you're talking about. Oh, and speaking of planets, tonight, if you're lucky, and if not tonight, then tomorrow night and maybe over the weekend, we have this alignment of planets where you will be able to see Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto all lined up in the sky. If you got a clear sky, wow. This only happens once in 100 years. That's it. So it's pretty spectacular stuff. Plus, of course, we got the eclipse going on, and of course, we have a Mercury retrograde, and Venus retrograde will soon happen. So March and April are going to be very, very tricky. Don't depend on anything. Just take in the information, observe. By the time you got to the end of April, things will become clearer. Not necessarily better, just clearer. It'll make sense to you at that point. But it got me interested a little bit, thinking that, my gosh, this thing that we're happening today, that's going on today through the weekend with the planets lining up, it only happens once every 100 years. So I went back to 1925. Fascinating, the energies. First of all, in 1925, we're coming out of World War I. We're coming out of the Spanish flu. Isn't it interesting that we're kind of leaving the Ukraine war, which lasted roughly about 4 years, just like World War I, and we've gone through a pandemic like they did with the Spanish flu. Yeah. Pretty fascinating, but it gets even more interesting. In 1925, 100 years ago, Benito Mussolini, the Italian fascist, declared himself his country's dictator. And in fact, same year, Adolf Hitler releases his memoir, Mein Kampf. Here in the United States, there's the famous Scopes monkey trial over the teaching of evolution. That was a big deal. Also in 1925, Madison Square Garden in New York opens up officially. And the first thing there, hockey game. Yeah, New York against Montreal. Fascinating. And one more from 1925, the Grand Ole Opry. One of the longest lived and most popular showcases for country western music begins broadcasting. 1925. So it's a busy, busy year. And you see what's going on in the world 100 years later with these planets all lining up like they're doing this weekend. You see the energy. You see, this is the stuff I'm talking about. The events kind of mirror what's going on. You have the pandemic in the 1918, you got the World War. And really, the Ukraine war, in many regards, kind of had tentacles all around the world, too. Wow. I haven't been able to find something for the equivalent of Madison Square Garden or the Grand Ole Opry. But it doesn't make any difference. Still pretty fascinating stuff. Now, Hitler, Mussolini, both making a big deal in 1925, makes you wonder, look at our world stage. What's going on? What's going on? Fascinating, get you thinking. That's why I love astrology and numerology, but tarot is what I'm focused on right now. That's why you only have 4 tarot cards up on your screen. That's all you're going to get. You don't have to look at me. I'm an old man. I'm not attractive. You don't need the distraction. Your life is distracted enough as it is. Middle card is the oracle card. It sets the mood for the reading. It says TOCK. Number up in the upper left is 30, 30. 0 for me is kind of cosmic, spiritual, maybe even in a sense protective. I'm still working on that. The 3, of course, is lining up the human trinity, mind, body, spirit. The energy of the mind, the body, the spirit all lining up. Like a well-tuned gasoline engine. You got all the cylinders working together in the exact synchronization. Man, you got some juju. Well, that's what we're talking about here. The idea of lining things up to get ready to move. Oh, and of course, kind of interesting too, going back to 1925, connecting this weekend's astrological lineup. 1925 was part of the Roaring 20s. Roaring 20s, people were going crazy, spending all kinds of money, going absolutely nuts. Came out of World War I, we went silly. Buy this, buy that. Stock market was going through the roof. Only 4 years later, 1929, to have the Great Depression, stock market crashes. And over the last several years at least, while the stock market hasn't necessarily gone crazy, government has. Spending money right and left, right and left, right and left, right and left. Let's see, the Roaring 20s, they went crazy with spending money and they went broke. Now we have the government spending money. What do you think? And I'm not altogether sure that I feel comfortable with the Doge. Yes, I voted for the administration because there was no other option. But I'm getting little bits and pieces and clues, and I'm seeing my hope disappear and my faith almost gone. I think we are at a point, or will be shortly, and I'm giving to July 4th, 2026. That's our 250th anniversary of America. That's our birthday. July 4th, 2026. Either it gets considerably better for the middle class and the poor in this country, or maybe it's time to go out on our own. Yeah. Pitchforks. Get the people out there. Start making noise. And you're beginning to see that kind of stuff bubbling up underneath. That's what's so fascinating about all of this stuff. You can see patterns. And if you get the frequency from today's reading or any reading catching up with you, connecting with you, that's your vehicle. Don't forget that. TOCK is what we have today. TOCK. Time waits for no one. And again, keep in mind some of the stuff that I was talking about in 1925 and how it manifested down the road. And we're kind of sort of different pair of shoes, but we're walking the same route. Again, the meme for today talks about time. It says, time is ticking. Don't waste your time. We are all only here on earth for a very short time. And no amount of money or materials can change that. I think that pisses off the billionaires. Because I think they're so afraid of dying. They're so afraid to confront their mortality. Because they got all this money. Everybody's blowing smoke up their ass. Oh yeah, you're right. Oh yeah, you're tremendous. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Nobody says no to a billionaire. Except nature. Except time. Tick tock. Time waits for no one. All right, let's go to the left now. King of Wands. Wands are the capacity to live an honest life. A true reflection. You are plugged into a real life. You're not just going through the motions. And the King of Wands is basically saying, get enthusiastic about something. Believe in something. Yeah, got to take a little bit of a risk, got to step out. But feel living a real life again. Next card over is the Queen of Wands. Well, you put these two together and the message is really clear. Time is moving. It waits for nobody. You get a shot at it this lifetime. There may be reincarnation, but we know what we know and we know what we got right now. Don't waste it. Money can't buy you more time. So that means it's incumbent upon you to put your stamp on it, to make the best of the time that you have. And the King and Queen of Wands together says, yeah, giddy up, take care of business. And kind of interesting, the next two cards are the same card but from different decks, the Seven of Swords. Swords are thoughts, ideas, beliefs. Ideally, they're the truth by which we live our lives. But as Mark Twain said, it's easier to fool somebody than to convince them they've been fooled, because we're basically assholes, egotistical, insecure, afraid of our own shadows, and so we don't want to believe. I'll leave it like this. Life sucks, but better the life I know that sucks than something else. It may be better, but may not. So the Seven of Swords, and many times I've heard tarot readers go, well, Seven of Swords, he's leaving a party and he's stealing. No, he's not. 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 What the Seven of Swords is doing is each sword represents fact or truth. And what he's decided to do, because there in both cards are two swords that he doesn't take. He takes 5, leaves 2. In both cards. In fact, every time that you run into a Seven of Swords, that's the way it's set up. The two swords, the 2 is always a decision. He is making a decision to be open to new ideas, to new truths. Not to be afraid of what he may run across. And at this point, he has decided what is true for him, how he wants to live his life, what he wants to believe in, what he wants to invest in emotionally, spiritually. And he's made the decision. 2 swords, I'm deciding, take these 5 with me. He's not running away. He's not stealing. He is facing life head on and saying, I have to make sure my thinking ain't stinking. Got to get it right. Because time waits for no one. Tick tock, this is your shot, baby. And no amount of money can change that. You got X amount of time. I don't give a damn if you're Elon Musk. I don't care if you're any of the other rich bastards that run the world. When your time is up, that's it. It's done. And I think that scares the crap out of them. Because they control everything else and everybody else. They get their way. Except here. And I think that just scares them. They're wearing brown shorts all the time. They don't tell you. But if you look close enough, you can smell the stink. Anyway, that's the reading for today. Hope you're back here with me tomorrow. We'll do it again. By the way, like, subscribe, and share. Like, subscribe, and share. Like, subscribe, and share. Got to remind you of that because the people around me beat me up if I don't tell you. It's all about algorithms. It's all about numbers. It's all about computers because that's what we are. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your interest. I'll be here tomorrow. Hope you will be as well. Between now and the next time we get together and do a little manifesting tarot, peace and blessings.